civilization is now the ultimate power in the universe.
I forgot to add everyone. Hi. Hello.
Do it again.
Do it again. What's up, everybody? And welcome to the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast, our live edition, Scarif Live. If you are not familiar, if you are familiar, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We have a special discussion. And I think this is the first Scarif Live right after we did Scarif Con in Chicago. Is that correct?
Yeah. You're right. It
wow.
is.
Yeah, we've hadn't had one in a while. I think we all needed a break from the rigmarole. And Andrew and family, we certainly missed you in Chicago. But ScarifCon 5 is going to be off the chain. Police will be involved. Fire, CPD, everybody's going to show up. Everybody in the chat. We got some wonderful folks in the chat. I see all of our friends. I remind myself of the what was that show where the PBS show where the lady held up the mirror? Romper Room? Was that Romper Room?
I don't know.
You're showing your age.
I am, definitely. I saw that look in your face too, Andrew, so definitely showing my age. But yeah, as you can tell, we've got Andrew from the Sci-Fictionary podcast and joining us tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about She-Hulk. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Let's see who's in the chat, though. We got Joker Voice in the chat. And I went right up to the top here to Joker Voice, I think, is going to surprise me. He says he didn't hate it. So that's very good.
We'll take it.
We'll take it. Thank you, everybody. Good night. No. But I want to remind everybody to stick around because we have a special giveaway. I have a question for you guys. We are going to be giving away a Todd McFarlane Batman in Bermuda shorts, if that's a thing. But I have a brand new action figure that folks will have an opportunity to win. It's a tough one, though. If you have not listened to our show, you might not get it. It's a direct question having to do with one of our previous shows, a show that we did with Andy and Andrew about pirates. So hopefully if you listen to that, you'll be able to answer the question and win a prize. Remember, you can't win if you don't listen. Andrew, what is going up with you? What's going on with you? I want to give you an opportunity to tell the folks in the chat that may not be familiar. I think it's all of our family members that know you and know everything about you. But in case a stranger stops by and listens to the show, what is up with you and what's your deal?
All right. So I've got two podcasts, Sci-Fictionary podcast and Coruscant Radio Underground, both of which you can find pretty much anywhere you would want to go find a podcast. And we're starting to do a lot more on YouTube. I'm really leaning into it. I'm finally getting used to the idea of doing some solo stuff when Marisha's tied up with work. So, I don't know if they'll be scheduled or if it's just going to be like I've got something I want to talk about and I'm going to pop on, like I did the other night. So, but I'm looking to do more of that. And we've got a lot of stuff coming up on the Science Fictionary. We're in the middle of, I'm trying to plan, I think, what's going to end up being 7 episodes of Muppet related content.
Very nice.
Ending with the 7th episode will be Muppets trivia.
Cool. Very
Awesome.
nice. Yeah, I caught you did kind of like a little bit of an impromptu live stream a couple of nights ago. I caught that. It's always nice to kind of just hang in the chat with you. Really fun discussions, but absolutely. And let's see, I'm going to pull this up because our Blue Wrench girl is making sure that people know who we are. Thank you very much, Kelly. Sidebar Cantina Lunar Girl, check it out. So what else is going on? Shanti, you've got some stuff coming up after again, I think all of us kind of needed a break after ScarifCon. It was mentally draining, physically draining. We all traveled to Chicago. We did our thing. We had a blast. We're gonna have to do it again next year. But what do you have going on, Shanti?
I don't even know anymore.
Right. Yeah, something going on.
I really don't. I mean, take two attempt to get an episode down of Scarif After Dark this coming Saturday. And honestly, I really don't think I have anything else unless there's something. Oh, we're doing a quick cuts on Wednesday with my friend Nick. So that'll be good.
Absolutely. That'll be fun. And we just dropped one on Thursday
Mhm.
with Blake from Dork Wars and our new friend Ella, which was really great. Speaking of Dork Wars, after Scarif Live, make sure that you guys head over to Dork Wars, the podcast. They're going to be talking about the fate of the MCU with a couple of special guests. Check them out on YouTube. Look for them. Subscribe only on the Red 5 Network, my friends. Another Red 5 Network podcast. Excellent. So let's get down to brass tacks. She-Hulk. Another divisive product from Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But let's I don't want to stir the pot because I think
Yeah, you do.
I guess I do. But let's go around the table. Let's go around the table and do just kind of general thoughts. Let's start with Andrew. What did you think of the first episode of She-Hulk? And obviously, you know, it's a series, but we're going to be talking about this first episode. I've already seen people judging the entire series on one show. What's going on there, Andrew?
Well, I mean, you know, why wouldn't they? You know, everybody judges whole series before one episode's out these days. So, you know, I don't hate it. I don't have anything to dislike about it particularly. I just didn't grab me, and I'm sort of wishing that they would have done what they've been doing and given us two, and maybe a second episode, because this first one, there's no arc to this first one really. It's just all set up. It's all prelude to the rest of the show, and I don't know. I just there's nothing in it that really grabbed me.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing that I'm just like, oh, I hate that. I can't believe they did that. I mean, there's nothing I just don't. And there are some funny moments in it. There's some good moments. I like the way it's shot. I like some of the creative things they're doing. I like that the character's not completely derivative of Hulk. And they seem to be. I mean, it's fairly in line with a lot of the early comic books. And of course, the Deadpool comparisons are going to be everywhere, breaking the fourth wall. And a lot of people aren't going that. A lot of younger people in particular aren't going to realize that she was probably the first Marvel character to do this long before Deadpool was ever around. So overall, again, I kind of wish they would have given me 2 episodes to kind of get a little more into the story, because I don't feel like the story. I feel like we started the story in the courtroom, and then we had the whole episode as an aside to give us the backstory.
Yeah.
And then we come back to the courtroom. We have about a minute and a half, and then that's it. So I don't feel like we've even really gotten anything but backstory so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I think another episode would have helped push, especially towards the end, because I think the end seemed I was going to say a little bit rushed. I think it was a lot rushed.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I expected to come back from that cutaway and have a good 10 minutes of something, and it's not. That's the end of the episode, really.
Yeah. And did you see what Cam did?
I did not.
No. Oh, no.
It's, oh my God.
Oh no.
It's he took that episode, but instead of whoever actually appeared crashing through the wall, it was She-Hulk versus Kool-Aid Man, and you can just picture the rest of that. Absolutely hilarious. Look it up. Cam Ray Semi Productions. Funny guy. Shanti, what did you think of the first episode of She-Hulk?
Where would this world be without Cam? Anyway. To know him is to love him. All right. I think I've already said this a couple times. Wasn't anything to write home about, but I was entertained. I'm taking it as a sitcom. That's how it's playing out. That's exactly how it is. I'm seeing a lot of comparisons to Ally McBeal. I think that's actually really fair. I liked it. I thought it was light. I thought it was funny in the same way, like, with Miss Marvel. I don't know if it's going to connect anything. Do I really care. At this point, I'm tired of thinking, I guess. So, um, yeah, this was just fun. It was just something nice to watch and unwind and relax. And I already know who this actress is. I've seen her in other things. So for me, it was fun watching her in this role. Even though, yeah, it's only the first episode. I agree with Andrew, especially since this wasn't a 6 episode arc. This is going to be 9 episodes. I think in that case, yeah, we probably could have gotten away with this time with having 2 episodes dropped. So yeah, I definitely would have enjoyed that a little bit more, just to get more backstory.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
liked
they were
it.
in kind
I
of a
liked it.
no-win,
Yeah.
situation for the storyteller here, because
Hmm.
you either do an origin, which the whole
Hmm.
series is what happened in this few minutes, this episode, and you stretch
Right.
that into a full season, or with a villain somehow thrown in, or you do exposition and just quick 5-minute exposition and then go straight into the courtroom stuff,
Right.
which either way, someone's going to feel like, oh, you shouldn't have done that much exposition. You should have just shown us, or it's, there's not a right answer. It's just, I feel like if they had given us 2 episodes, maybe there would have been more meat on the bone here as far as
Yeah.
something to really latch onto story wise. And as far as the comparisons to Ally McBeal, I think that's accurate, but I think we're going to get more into the courtroom drama, and that's what I want from this show. I want to see that. I want it to be
Mhm.
different. I want to do this side of things and not just a typical superhero show. And I'm afraid that when it's over, this episode is going to feel totally different than the rest of the show.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can see that. And then even just now watching a little bit of the trailer that dropped, that long trailer, it does already seem different in tone than what we just saw. Let's go back to talk about the exposition, because Andrew, you did say that the most of the episode was basically kind of like a flashback or an explanation of what went on prior to the point where we meet her in her office.
Right.
I think what'd you think of the entire episode, just kind of dealing with that? There's a lot there, and obviously we have seen a lot of accounts getting kind of angry at some of the things that she was saying to Bruce Banner about being a woman, dealing with that aspect of her character. But what did you guys think of that?
I mean, I kind of take that. I mean, I can see how people could take the things she says and find a reason to get upset about them. But like at the same time, like I constantly tell people, because I tell my children this, I tell other people this, like, don't dismiss other people's life experiences because it doesn't align with yours.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, these things that upset her, they do happen to people. It's not like it's just something that doesn't happen.
Right.
So, but I think the other side of that is Bruce had his way of dealing with the trauma of becoming a Hulk, and her way of dealing, because it's a traumatic thing. Even if her transition to this new thing is not the same as Bruce's, it's still traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody deals with trauma different. So this is what I said earlier. I'm really glad that she's not a totally derivative character of the Hulk.
Right.
Yeah. Shanti, what'd you think?
But I agree. I mean, do I want the same storyline constantly spit out at me over and over again? No, because then of course what happens, and with everyone wanting to complain about everything, then we'd be complaining, well, oh my God, this is just a rehash of the Hulk story and you just made her female. Then that's where I can see you can make the argument of you're just trying to wipe them out or with this and that. But no, I like that she's having a different journey. And yes, her being of a different gender is going to make things different. So I do agree with that. There's just no way around it. So people are going to bitch to bitch. It's just the way it goes.
One of the things that I picked up on, I think, during the explanation, or I guess during the scenes with Bruce and She-Hulk, they were talking about how different they are. I mean, I noticed a lot of dialogue just on that one point that they are different. You know, Bruce Banner was trying to give her, you know, this trying to instill the fact that, you know, she's got to be responsible. And obviously we know Spider-Man's thing, with great power comes great responsibility. She didn't want any of it. She just wanted to go back to her life and be an attorney and et cetera, et cetera. I think her character arc is going to be finding that fit between her really wanting to have things go back to normal and accepting the fact that, you know, she probably will have to be a superhero at some point in her life, and sacrifice the one thing that she really doesn't want to sacrifice. And at this point it's her career.
Right.
And I think people are maybe missing that point. I don't know. What do you think?
That's why I'm looking forward to Daredevil popping in, because if anything, her storyline is going to align to me more to his, because he's been given this something that he, you know, doesn't really want, I'm sure, also in the beginning, if you know, but he also still wants to help people and still want to be a lawyer. And I think that's what this is going to be too, is how she's going to channel now this new power, She-Hulk, into being an attorney and actually helping out. So that's what I'm waiting for. I want Daredevil to come in already so I can see that dynamic.
Yeah.
Except the
And
costume.
yeah, the yellow.
The yellow looks weird.
What was it, Bravo, that said, or somebody said, this proves that Matt Murdock is actually blind because he picked the yellow outfit. I got some stuff going on in the chat regarding the origin of She-Hulk, and I know that somebody had screenshot a comic book panel about her origin. And it did seem, you know, based on what I saw, and I you know, I read She-Hulk a long time ago and don't really remember a lot of what I read. I'm not sure. Did she actually have her own title, or did she? I know she popped up in different.
Oh yeah, there's several
Comics.
No,
runs
she
of
had her own.
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
from what I read, yeah, she had her own.
So, you know, it did seem like it was rushed. I think, how long was this episode? Your
I'm not
usual
sure.
38
If I had to guess, I'd
minutes?
say, yeah,
35?
30,
it's
yeah,
just a
30,
little
like
it
over
was
half an
like
hour.
38 minutes. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think it would have benefited from, you know, some more time all over the place. I think they probably maybe would have been able to shorten up the exposition and maybe elongated the end. The end, like I said, seemed a little rushed. But yeah, any other thoughts on the exposition, the explanation of what we get between Banner and cousin She-Hulk?
No, I mean, I liked it. From what I
I
read,
think
like, you know, again, yeah, this is not one that I'm familiar with. So from what I read, it seems like they did a pretty good job, actually, of being accurate, at least towards the comic book. So
yeah, I
I don't have a
mean,
problem with
you
that.
know, in the comics, he intentionally gives her a blood transfusion to
Right,
save her
Right. Yeah.
right. Hmm.
I think this was the right decision. I think they rushed the way it happened, maybe, or forced it a little bit more than they
Sure.
had to. But I also believe that I believe that the MCU's Bruce Banner would never intentionally infect someone with his blood.
Right. I can see
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
I can
Hmm.
see that. I think, and you know, when she was being, when Bruce Banner was being pulled out of the vehicle, and the blood infected her, I mean, you can see that he was like just nervous, like, "Oh, get away from me, get away from me." So I can kind of see
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I was going to ask you, Andrew, regarding the comparison between, you know, our origin story that we get in this series versus the origin. But like I said, I think somebody had screenshotted a comic book frame of that blood transfusion. But yeah, let's talk about Tatiana.
Mhm.
She is pretty damn good. I mean, obviously, we've seen her in what was the show she was in?
Orphan Black.
Orphan Black. She
Yeah.
was amazing in that show, and obviously she carried the entire series of that show because she was everybody.
Right.
I'm just having a lot of fun watching her too
Mhm.
in She-Hulk. It's
Yeah.
it's great. What'd you
I
guys
think
think?
I think she was a good casting choice. I've seen her on 1 or 2 episodes of Parks and Rec that she was on, and she was really funny and very witty. But then I've seen her do drama because she was in the new Perry Mason reboot, and I almost didn't recognize her because she had a really really blonde wig on. But I was excited when she got cast as this because I knew that she'd have the comedic chops. I believe she's done stand up of some kind. So, and not only that, but her delivery and stuff, it works well with the fourth wall. Breaking the fourth wall is a very tricky thing to do. So I want to see how they handle this because I actually didn't know until this came out that she was actually the first one to do this before Deadpool. So I already have Deadpool like in my mind.
right.
So I want to see how they handle the fourth wall in this one.
And I was when I heard that she was going to do that, and I don't remember her doing that in the comic books. Maybe she did, but I thought like, wow, it's gonna be a little odd, because they're bringing obviously another genre into the MCU, you know, sitcoms and things like that. So it's not that the MCU was void of comedy, obviously, because we talk about it a lot, and there is a lot of, you know, self-aware comedy in there. But this one, you know, this series takes it one step, you know, past what they've done before.
Well, there is a slight difference in what they've done with Daredevil with no.
Are you okay, Andrew? Reset.
with Deadpool and She-Hulk, and that when she breaks the fourth wall in that moment when she's in Hulk's bar, he hears her do it.
Yeah,
normally a fourth wall break is totally an aside. You know, it's like Ferris Bueller. It's this this actor having a conversation with the audience for a brief moment, just like you do in a play. But in this case, Hulk turns around and looks at her and says, "What?" And then she's like, "Nothing." And they both get this weird look on their face, like that was kind of weird.
Right. Yeah, that's too cool. I think, and again, I think the actress really nails it. Not only to the role, but that breaking the fourth wall is very, I don't know, she's doing it very naturally. And I think I'm looking forward to the rest of the show and watching her kind of relate to the situations there.
Yeah, I think the actress has been great. I mean, she wasn't when they announced her. I had been hoping for Stephanie Beatrice from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's Rosa on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But I mean, this casting is good. I'd never seen this actress in anything, but she did a really good job through the first episode. So
you've got to watch Orphan Black because it's pretty stupendous, actually.
Yeah,
I've heard good things.
Yeah, she's really good.
I think she's the only actress to win an Emmy or something for playing multiple characters on a show or something like that. So that's a nice distinction to have.
Yeah, it's an amazing role for an actor.
Yeah,
to be able to play, you know, different variations of somebody within one show, and then just to kind of keep track of all that stuff. I mean, we talk about the voice actor that plays all the clones. Bradley, what's his name? So that's got to be tough. What else? What is the chat talking about? Let me pull this.
Now, I read in my little research of the actual comic book of the original, it says that she eventually chooses to just stay in her She-Hulk form. So do you see this show going in that same direction where we're probably never going to see her in her human form? Or do you think, no, it'll take a while before they decide to go that route?
I don't know that they'll ever go that route because just the expense.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
The same reason they had to write in a way to have Bruce back as Bruce for part of this, because you need a way to not to have those characters on screen and not be CGI sometimes.
Right.
Especially with all the complaints right now about how hard Marvel is pushing their CG artists.
Yeah. Did you guys notice anything different from when the first trailer dropped versus the show?
Yeah. It just looked less fuzzy. It looked a little more clear to me. And I also don't know if, I mean, they did say they went and retouched a couple of things, correct? And I think it also has to do a lot with your TV, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
What kind of TV you have, your settings. So I don't know. I didn't have a problem. Didn't think it was distracting. I actually thought she looked better than Hulk.
Yeah, there's always there's always some difference between characters. It's not, for me watching this, it wasn't really consistent. There's sometimes that she looked really great and
Yeah.
other times where she didn't. And the same thing with Bruce Banner. There was some stuff that I kind of like, my behind the scenes eyes was looking at Bruce Banner going in and out of a shadow when they were
Mm,
in Mexico in the bar. And
right.
some of it looked like great. I'm like, oh wow, that's really photorealistic. And then some of it didn't. Um,
Right.
but it's always interesting to see. Ever since we had that drama with Sonic the Hedgehog, when that stuff was leaked out and the fans went crazy and they went back to the drawing board. It always fascinates me to see, what the difference is between, the initial, like the version 1.0 versus, what gets to released. And obviously now that it's streaming, I mean, they can keep tweaking the shows until they're satisfied and then just reload, their content on their own streaming platform. I think that's kind of a weird precedent to set if all studios do that, because you want to be able to show present your best foot forward on these
Of
shows.
course.
But yeah, interesting. Any other thoughts on the visual effects or anything like that?
No.
I mean, I think they look okay. It's again, I don't know how great. Like one of the difficult parts of her character in particular. I mean, at this point, if they don't have Hulk, you can only blame Hulk on either not enough time for the companies doing the CGI work, or they didn't throw enough money at it, because they've had plenty of time to get Hulk right. But with her, like her character, and it's sort of what looks wrong about Smart Hulk as well, is they've made him more human, right?
Right.
Right.
And so her character's more human. So now instead of this giant green rage monster, she's just bigger and green. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know how real you're ever going to make that look. Like, what is real when you're talking about that?
Yeah.
That's fair. That's true.
Yeah.
It's always going to look like a big green woman. It's always going to look a little off.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, he looked a little cartoonish, but
And I may be
it
totally
is what
wrong.
it is.
In a couple
Right.
of years, they may get it figured out and prove me completely wrong. But it's
Right.
like, when you look at stuff, like everybody raves about like the CGI in things like Avatar, that doesn't look real. Like nothing about that looks real. It looks like cartoon characters and live action characters acting next to each other. Like, and everybody raves about that. So, like, is it just about expecting more from Marvel, or what is it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think our suspension of disbelief when it comes to CGI characters, I think there's different levels.
Yeah.
And the acceptance of those characters. Obviously, if you're watching, like a Tom and Jerry cartoon, your brain knows, hey, those are not really mice
Yeah.
and cats. But when it comes to, stuff like this, our brains, because we want to believe, because we're going in there on purpose to be entertained. Yeah, that's a very good point.
And I still think it looks better than, what we've always been used to seeing, decades in the past on TV. So it's
Oh
still
yeah,
almost movie
television.
quality, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Yeah. I do see those people that are posting screenshots of the very first Iron Man versus, some of the stuff that has been, released now. And the first Iron Man still looks a lot better than some of the new stuff, according to them. And some of it I can see.
Yeah. Some of it was that they were trying to, they made it look real and metal
Sure.
and everything initially. And as his suit is nanotechnology later. It's not
Right.
just steel.
Right.
And so they tried to make it look different, and by doing that, I think they made it look more cartoonish.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. Let's see. I wanted to kind of touch on when Bruce and what's her name? Carol or what?
Jennifer
Jennifer Walters.
Walters.
when they're in the car right before the accident, and you have that spaceship that made them crash.
Yeah.
What I've heard some rumors online and some people speculating about what that was. What do you guys think?
I actually haven't seen anything about that, so
I
no
mean,
comment.
it was obviously there. Someone that the Grandmaster sent looking for the Hulk for whatever reason. He said it was a courier ship. So is it delivering something? Was it sent to bring him back? There's been a lot of rumors about a Planet Hulk storyline, which would involve him leaving Earth again. So I would tend to think that it's something along those lines. That it's just the Grandmaster trying to take the Hulk back to Sakaar.
Sure. And that's one of the things that bothered me. There was a lot of things that were thrown at us in such a short first episode. I think they should have gone back to that story element, maybe teased it out a little bit. I feel that this episode was just like way too short for everything that they threw at us. And obviously, again, I'm being guilty of judging entire, show with just one episode. But Shanti, do you have a green light going on?
I wish.
Is that you being green, or did you have some bad sushi?
No, I'm pissed at the post office for losing my lightsaber blade.
That sucks. Hope you get it soon. I want to see.
Oh, if not, they're gonna get it.
So, all right. What else? What else are we talking about? I mean, I think overall I enjoyed the episode. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I think initially I was distracted with the CGI, but I think what really got me through it is Tatiana's acting. I think I'm really having fun just watching her do her thing. I'm enjoying the sitcom aspect of things. I'm enjoying her character. And like I said, I think going forward, I think her story arc really is going to be, having to accept the fact that she's got these powers now. But I'm always interested to hear like other people's complaints, really, because sometimes I don't see a lot of that. Because I'll watch a project. I've always said this. I watch a project first just to kind of take it in, and then I start picking it apart. Was it a perfect show? Everybody's saying no, it wasn't perfect. No, but I think I was entertained.
But again, I'm not expecting gold standard on every single show. That's just not realistic. You know what I mean? If not, I know not everyone puts any importance on award shows, but if not, every show would get frickin' nominated. You know what I mean? So I like I said at the beginning, not every show now, because we're so programmed by MCU now that everything's got to connect, everything's got to be attached to something, and some things I think can just be for entertainment. I am viewing She-Hulk as if I'm sitting down to watch an episode of Friends. It's just a sitcom. It's for fun. It's not to be taken super seriously. One of the complaints that I saw was about the wire work in the courtroom. It's supposed to look like that. It's supposed to be silly, so that is something that I'm not going to harp on. That is something that I'm not going to say, it looks stupid. To me, the wire work in Kill Bill looks goofy too. So, and that's a great movie, but I think that's just intentional. So just relax, enjoy it.
I think overall, the only thing that really disappointed me about the episode was, so we go through the whole backstory, we come back to the courtroom, and the character that's kind of been hyped as, in the comics, one of her big villains, and was kind of hyped to be that in this, and Titania comes crashing through the wall, and there's not even a fight.
No.
And so it's like, well, all that buildup, and we didn't even get a real fight.
That's my complaint about the fact that, okay, so now Disney and MCU have all this real estate in their streaming properties. Why are you still doing broadcast lengths? I just don't get
know.
it.
I mean, I don't think it should be an hour either, just because it is playing so much out as a sitcom, and it's you got to be careful with comedy. You don't want to do it either. So I don't know if I would want to have pushed this to
There,
55 minutes, but you could have
yeah,
at least maybe done 45. But it
sure.
does feel like they're trying to do a Tarantino because now they've given you a taste of this one. Now, what is the next episode going to be? Going into her backstory and bringing to the present? Please, like, don't pull a Book of Boba Fett because that was something I didn't like, the constant jumping back and
But
forth.
I don't know why they're so stuck on the length of their shows.
Yeah.
I think that they're making a mistake. I think when you
Mhm.
look at now, I think Stranger Things went way too far the other way. I mean, 2.5
Right.
hours for a TV episode is ridiculous. It took me 3 sittings to get through it.
Right.
Because when I normally watch TV, it's like I've got time to watch a show. So I kept having to turn it off and come back. But, when you look at shows like um, the Orville, and I know you're going to give me a look, Ro, but the Orville, like this season of the Orville, those episodes are like an hour and 25 minutes, hour and 30 minutes
Wow.
long. Like they're they're not feature length. They found a happy middle, but they can tell a full story without having to rush things.
Mhm.
But when we first kind of started talking about the advantages of everything going to the streaming service, and it's really what they kind of pitched with Disney Plus, at least not Disney Plus directly, but some of the early shows on it, was that, hey, if we've got 50 minutes worth of story, we'll do 50 minutes worth of story. If we've got 35 minutes worth of story, we'll do 35. They don't seem to be doing that, though. They seem to, as time has gone, really tried to compress everything into like a 40-minute window.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And as much as I don't like binging, then they should do something like Stranger Things, where you release like half the season in one drop, give it a couple of weeks, and then release the other half, in another
Yeah,
drop.
I think,
Some of these are not benefiting from the weekly format when it comes to
but
Right.
Disney.
Yeah.
the all-in-one drop though is done. Like Netflix is fixing to have to bail on that. They're hemorrhaging money.
Yeah.
Netflix, and that's what's killing them. You put it
Mhm.
out, people watch it. Because I know tons of people that I say, hey, if you watch this on Netflix, oh well, next time I turn it back on, I'll watch that.
Yeah. That's
And it's so they wait till that one thing they really want to see comes on. They turn it on for like a week and they turn it back off. So they're paying like a month subscription a year,
right.
basically.
Mhm.
And I think that's the reason Netflix is the only company doing it. And I think those days are numbered for Netflix.
Yeah.
There's obviously advantages. I think my wife and I did not have HBO when Sopranos was rolling. And I think somebody had loaned us the DVDs of all of it. And this was before the major brands had their streaming channels, obviously,
Mhm.
back in the day. And we liked binging. Like we would pop one DVD in, watch like 5 episodes, and then we're like, oh my God, let's keep going. I think there are certain shows that benefit from having a full season drop, and certain shows may not. But there doesn't seem to be like a happy middle. Like right now, I'm like scratching my head about what we just saw with She-Hulk for the most part, why they decided to cut it so short. I'm curious because I want to watch more, but I got to wait a
Mhm.
week.
Right.
We're going to get basically an almost a 90-minute movie for Andor because they're dropping their first 3 episodes,
Right.
which I think is great.
Yep.
But where did that decision come in? It was never, I think that was kind of like, I don't know. Andor has morphed already, several times, which, whatever.
It's
But
true. They only
yeah,
seem to do that with Star Wars because I can't think of any Marvel show that they've pumped out where they dropped more than one episode on the premiere.
sure.
They only seem to be
No.
doing it with Star Wars. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think you're
Trying to
right.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Kenobi.
why they're choosing to make that distinction and not just, have them both released, in the same
Yeah.
way.
I think,
I mean-
streaming is still young, and I think they're kind of playing around with format. They're playing with marketing. Andor is going to be dropping, like we mentioned, the first 3 episodes. They're re-releasing Rogue One in theaters and
Mhm.
showing, exclusive 9 minutes worth of Andor
Right.
during Rogue One at select theaters. So, you know, I don't know. It's kind of a, you know, push and pull with marketing, which I find interesting. There, you know,
Mhm.
there's no science to it. I think they're kind of just seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. But I, for one, you know, enjoy longer, you know, first episodes. I don't like this, or any episodes. I don't like the 30-minute, you know, episode drop. It's weird,
Yeah, me either.
especially when, you know, like I said, you've got all this time.
It makes me feel like the well is dry.
Hmm.
It's true. You
Yeah.
can't, you know, I mean, listen, they've been entertaining to a certain extent, but I haven't really liked this phase of MCU all that much. Like, I didn't like the last Doctor Strange movie. I didn't think it was anything to write home about. And I mean, really, the only one that I've really, really loved has been Spider-Man and Shang-Chi. I didn't like Eternals at all. So are they just once again, are they just spreading themselves too thin? Writers for this, writers for that? Is it becoming too much?
I think one of the things regarding this latest phase in the MCU,
Mhm.
you know, and I think Andrew, you're the one that mentioned this. You know, we're getting into these stories where the issues or the problems are like world devastating, and I think a lot of times people are getting lost
Yeah.
with explanations like, okay, wait, what's going on? The universe is doing what? And, you know, sometimes you just want to get back to Spider-Man rescuing a cat out of a tree, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Which is why I'm really, really happy about what Kevin Feige said a couple of weeks ago about Spider-Man and Daredevil basically being the new leaders for the street level superheroes.
Yeah. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Again, I wanted to remind you guys after I think Dork Wars goes on after us around what 8:15 Central. So in about a half an hour.
Yes.
If you
9:50.
guys head over to Dork Wars, they've got some special guests talking about the fate of the MCU and our giveaway.
Yeah.
We have a giveaway. Before I do the giveaway, I wanted to ask you guys if you guys had any final thoughts or you wanted to touch on anything that our friends in the chat have mentioned. Anything? I know the chat's been going for quite a while now.
Mid-credit scene.
Oh, that's right. Here we go. I was going to ask you, do you guys think Steve Rogers?
I thought it was funny. I thought some people had a problem with it. I read this article in the Nerdist about how, like, oh, did we really need that? I'm like, oh my God. It's like, you know, like, can we just please get over ourselves for like 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Like, you know, look, Miss Marvel had a very clear target audience, and that definitely was for preteens and like high schoolers. And this one is obviously being geared more towards, you know, older teens, and then of course us as adults. So for me,
Did I notice?
I enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah,
I
did I
did
notice
find
a
the
lot
joke
of?
It's been
funny,
a running joke about
Yeah.
Captain America for a while, so they touched upon it. Who cares? Stop being such prudes.
Did I notice a lot more like R-rated stuff in this? Like, were
Yeah, she
there?
flipped him off. She literally flipped off Bruce Banner when he threw her off the cliff.
Yeah,
She said
that was.
bullshit. I think it was I enjoyed it. Whatever. Who
Granted, we've
cares?
always done stuff like that with Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's not
Yeah,
necessarily new in the MCU.
right.
They've always been a little more edgy. I just feel like where
Well, might as well
Guardians tries to be
PG-13.
edgy, it works, and I felt like where this tried to be edgy, it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that last scene, it does nothing for. It's just their attempt to be meta, because
Right.
that's been a conversation, and that's what this show's going to try to do. I'm a little scared that's them trying to be a little too Deadpool with this,
Okay. I can see that.
and
Okay.
with the meta references. I mean, it may have worked for some people. It's fine. I'm not going to have a fit that it's in there, but it did nothing for me. I just don't think the joke landed.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys in the chat. This is going to be hard because I don't think anybody in the chat listens to our. Hold on a second. Let's see here. All right.
There he
We
is.
are giving away a Todd McFarlane Batman in Bermuda shorts action figure, brand new in the package, sending it out to a winner, somebody that answers this question. And hopefully you have listened to every single Scarif podcast since we started back in 2019 in order for you to answer this question. And I'm hoping that you have listened to it at least 5 times each episode. That would be great. All right. In the episode of the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast where Andrew and Andy talked about pirates, lovely, lovely episode. Andy compared what show to the Battlestar Galactica reboot in the aspect of their first season being more dedicated to world building. Andrew and Andy were talking about a certain show regarding our Pirates episode, The Legacy of Pirates, which is an awesome discussion. I was actually blown away at the amount of knowledge that you guys had about pirates, and it's one of my favorite episodes that we've done. So I'll repeat the question. You guys can put it in the chat. If not, if you think about it, or if you cheat and go back and just listen to that show and direct message me with the answer, I'll give you guys that. Again, the question is, Andy, you know her as Plus Verb on Twitter, compared what show to the Battlestar Galactica reboot in the aspect of their first season being more dedicated to world building. So check that out if you have an answer. I doubt anybody's going to have an answer in the chat now. You're going to have to go and cheat and listen to that episode. So check it out. Tag us, tag a friend who likes pirates, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to Scarif Live here on YouTube, and let us know you did that. And yeah, absolutely. I bet you guys don't even know. Andrew was in the show, and I bet you he doesn't remember.
I hosted it. I don't remember.
Awesome. All right. Any final thoughts on She-Hulk? I'm going to get something while somebody says something here.
I think I think that it was an okay start, and I hope that it really ramps up from here. I like the actress. I like the character. I kind of like what they're setting up, even though I think that it was a little bland.
Okay. Yeah. For me, it was bland, but only because it was just super short. I think when I started to get really into it, I was like, where's the rest of it? But I'm, looking forward to more She-Hulk to see where this story goes. And somebody mentioned it was a 9-episode series.
9.
Yeah.
9.
Excellent. Shanti, what final thoughts there?
Josh and Bravo are just spitting out answers. Again, it wasn't anything out of this world. I'm not going to say it's 5 out of 5 stars, but I can't say it was 1 star. You can't repeat in Cincinnati. Oh my God. Shut up, Josh. No, I was entertained. It's fine. It was a great little escape. I enjoyed it. I want to come back and see what they have planned. Like Andrew said, I don't want to sit here and just base my opinion of the entire show on this one pilot episode. That's how I look at it, is a pilot episode. And there are very few shows where the pilot episode, I'm like, wow. So yeah,
Sure.
no. Am I raving about it? No, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. We'll see. We'll see what we do on the next one.
Anyone get it right?
I doubt it. All in the Family.
Swiss Family Robinson, Gilligan's Island, Babylon 5, Peppa Pig.
That's a good one. So yeah, if you have the answer, if you have the actual answer, go ahead and direct message me either on my personal account or the Scarif account. I would love to send that Batman out to a winner. Check it out. Look at those shorts.
Sexy.
Well, you know what? And I think I'm going to have to look at the package. Does it come with a bomb? I'm not sure.
Oh, man.
We'll have to check.
That'd be great. Scuttlebutt.
All right, guys. Thank you in the chat for joining us on tonight's Scarif Live. Andrew, thank you so much. Let's tell the folks, let's remind the folks where people can find you guys. Andrew?
Find me running the Twitter account for the show at Sci_Fictionary. You can find the Science Fictionary podcast and Coruscant Radio Underground anywhere you listen to podcasts. And also, real quick, I want to throw out there, keep an eye open tomorrow night. I'm going to be throwing out the kickoff stuff for the Parsec Fan Awards.
Very nice.
Tomorrow.
Awesome.
So the nominations will open up tomorrow night.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. Second annual Parsec Awards. Keep all your channels open, baby. Shanti, what's up with you? Remind folks where people can stop by and say hello to you.
I am at Selena Kyle 29 on Twitter and Instagram, and you can also find me at Scarif After Dark on Twitter and Instagram. And one thing I forgot to mention in the beginning when you asked me is I am also playing with Kelly and Bravo tomorrow at 6 p.m. Easter. We'll be playing Old Republic, and that'll be, I think, on both YouTube and Twitch. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Very nice. And speaking of games, if you guys are into games, don't forget we have a gaming channel, a gaming group under Red 5 Gaming. So give them a follow. And we also have some tabletop action with Red 5 Tavern. If you guys are into Dungeons and Dragons, doing a little D&D action, join Brad and the crew at the Red 5 Tavern Friday nights. I think they changed the times a little bit. It's either 9 or sometimes it's 10, but I think they moved it up an hour because Kelly can't stay up past 1 a.m., right?
We're all old, man.
Something like that. Excellent. All right, chat. Remember, send me your answers if you can. Send me the correct answers. You know what? I'll take some wrong answers too, because you guys are killing it over there. Those are some funny ones, man. Mork and Mindy. Yeah. Excellent. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, thank you for joining us here on the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. We have shows that drop, audio version of shows drop every Thursdays when we have some topics. We got some great shows prepping with some friends. Always interested to do some mega crossovers. Hint, hint, Andrew. But absolutely, thank you guys. Follow us wherever you get your other favorite podcasts and shows. Don't forget to check out the Red 5 Network for a slew of content creators, both audio and YouTube. We are available wherever you find your favorite podcast, red5network.com or bio.link/red5, the number 5. Don't forget, it's a 5 and it's red. Thank you very much for joining us. Next week, we're going to talk about She-Hulk some more, possibly, and ask the question, does she hate men? Hey-o!